So hit it.
Hello and welcome to This is the Play Sports, the podcast. Dad, you might remember these guys. We've had them on before.
They're back. We have Eric Jensen and Jim Burton back. Guys, thanks for joining us again.
We just thought you guys had such an amazing chemistry. We thought we had to bring you guys.
We did. Well, listen, I mean, I can't believe that I'm invited to even speak at my mother's own funeral. So, I mean, there are just things that amaze me. No, Jim, it was a joke, sir. That obviously did not land on you, as you can see. Our chemistry is palpable.
You know, I felt bad for your mom in that moment.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a lighthearted podcast, Eric. We're supposed to have a little fun, talk about some sports. Jim's going to regale us with some jokes. You know, that's the script here.
And then Jim and I are going to be jealous about your hair, where your hair on your head and the hair on Austin's face. Both,
you know, between the hair on Eric's head and the hair on my face, we could probably make a pretty decent, wig for you and Jim.
It's true.
No, I'm not giving this up. See, I am a vain man. I fear
you could
baldness
give a little
like
bit of it up, but still be fine.
We're all wearing hats too. That's cool. Check us out.
That's true.
But I am a hat guy. Even with the long hair, I'm a hat guy.
It's a good look.
I used to be a hat guy too, and I lost my hair, so I'm not trying to scare you.
I still remember I had a teacher at East, Mr. Dyring, and he had a sign up by his desk, that old joke that said, God created only a few perfect heads, the rest he covered with hair. Something to think about. It's so deep.
I just want to our viewers.
My head is not.
I have hair as well on my head.
My head.
But I have hair. Yeah.
Yeah, my head is not well shaped. It's like I've got a 5 head. It's like misshapen, and so it's best that I keep something up top.
Yeah. Hey, let's start with the sports talk. Okay, we're talking about guys wearing hats. Zach Wilson, of course, put on his New York Jets hat in the NFL draft. He was the 2nd overall pick. What were your guys' thoughts on how the NFL draft shook out? Jimbo.
As I said in a previous podcast, I really hope that Zach Wilson would not go to the Jets, because they're just not a great organization. And I stand by that. They had a good draft. The stuff that I read gave them an A+. And I thought that was interesting. I just don't like the organization. I think that they've been mired in mediocrity for a long time. And I just feel like it's a tough situation. I do think Zach Wilson will translate. He's going to be beloved in New York. He's got the dimples and the smile and the blonde hair, and I'll tell you what, he's got to be an advertiser's dream. But I just don't know. I don't know what the Jets. They picked up some defensive or some alignment to help him out, but I just don't like the organization. And so I kind of feel bad for him.
Eric, you last time the two of you were on, you also disagreed on the Jets. You like what's going on in New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to have skepticism, but it's a new GM, it's a new coach. They traded real draft capital to get up and get the guy out of USC, Elijah Vera Tucker, who's a very versatile offensive lineman. They're obviously committed to protecting Zach Wilson. They went 4 straight offensive players to start the draft. They also got Ole Miss product Elijah Moore, who could project to be a decent NFL slot receiver. There are a lot of questions, a lot. And I'm positive about the Jets' future, but that's what it is. It's a future. People can't expect that he's going to come in and be Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, and everyone's going to say, oh, wow. They might have another, 5-6 win season. But 5-6 wins for the Jets is a massive improvement over what they've had the past 5 years or so.
Eric, I just got to know. Last time you were on, we talked. Me and my dad afterwards were like, wow, he's such a football savant. It's crazy. How many draft picks in a row can you name from this year's NFL draft without looking?
Okay. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance.
Mhm.
4 was Kyle Pitts. 5, Jamar Chase. 6. Can you give me a team?
No, I'm not going to give you the team.
Wow.
It was the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins.
Playing hardball.
6 would be Jalen Waddle. 7 would be. See, this is where it gets tricky because I forget the teams. 7 would be the Lions, Penei Sewell, Utah product. 8 would be the Panthers, Jason Horn. 9, the Broncos, Patrick Surtain. 10, Eagles traded up to get Devontae Smith at 10. They were originally at 12.
Correct.
11 is.
If you get to 15, my head's going to explode. This 11
Who was the team at 11?
It was a big one.
Who was it? Oh, Bears traded up to 11 to get Justin Fields. 12 was the Cowboys. They went Micah Parsons because the cornerbacks got snatched up ahead of him. 13. Let's see. Is that the Vikings? No, the Vikings traded back. That's the Chargers. Okay, the Chargers, Rashawn Slater.
Okay.
14. Vikings traded back.
You mentioned this guy already.
Vikings traded back with Jets, Elijah Vera Tucker. And then 15, Mac Jones. If you get 16, if you give me like 16 through 20 the teams, and I'll see if I can.
We got to call it. You've proven yourself.
The horn has sounded. We're in the second quarter.
See, if I had seen if I have the team logos in front of me, I could probably rattle off all 32.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Goodness gracious.
Hey, second quarter, guys. Let's talk about the other guys that got drafted. It was a really productive draft for Utah high school football alums and BYU Cougars. There was a lot of both. What did you equate that to, Jimbo? Is high school football in this state really as good as the draft indicates? I mean, 2 of the top 7 players taken this year played high school ball in Utah.
Yes, I think you're right. I do think that equates to the evolution of football in the state of Utah, once known as a basketball state. And pretty heavily known as a basketball state. It's a football state now. I do give a lot of credit, honestly, to Urban Meyer and the way he kind of put Utah on the map as far as the University of Utah. Got a lot of people talking. Obviously, Lavelle Edwards and what he did at BYU also kind of started the evolution of football in Utah. But yeah, I think the state has definitely evolved when you see guys like Zach Wilson and Penei Sewell getting drafted so high. That to me speaks very, very, very highly of where we're at with high school football in the state of Utah.
Eric, a big day for Bountiful High with Christensen, and then obviously Bingham had a couple alums get drafted. What do you think's going on in the state? Is football just getting better, as Jim said?
I think you look at the, 24/7 does a great job with their, Ute Zone with their recruiting rankings for the state of Utah. And, there is a lot of talent here and it is developing and there are a lot of great programs. I mean, East is, I think, one of the top football programs in the region.
They were really good at 81.
Here we go.
They're really.
I mean, you said it on a T.
I mean, I think that Lone Peak, Mountain View, Corner Canyon, all these schools have really good programs. But I mean, I'm just impressed. I mean, BYU. Everybody can say all they want about BYU didn't have that tough a schedule. They still got 5 players drafted. I mean, Brady Christensen at 70 for the Panthers. I mean, I think that's a great pickup for them. He played so well for them last year. And then in the 7th round, Dax Milne went to the Washington football team. Wonder if he makes the roster there. That's a pretty deep wide receiver room all of a sudden, but Dax Milne was very, very good last year. So I really do think that both those players are going to make big differences where they are. I think Dax Milne could be a fantastic special teams player. He's got good speed and clearly works very hard. And I think Brady Christensen, he was one of like, I don't do draft scouting the way some people do, but like Brady Christensen, like I watched so much BYU over the past few years. Like he's a really good player. He's a really good tackle, and I think it translates over to the NFL. So I think he'll have a chance to battle for being 1 or 2 on the depth chart in Carolina. So it's just a good time for Utah football right now. A lot of good players coming out of the state. And I mean, the fact Penei Sewell came out of Utah, like that's the bigger story, because from what everybody says, if he hits, he could go down as one of the greatest players to play the tackle position of all time. And he's from the state of Utah. So that's pretty cool.
And what do you think, Austin? I mean, you talked to Brady Christensen and that the third round surprised you?
You know, I was worried for Brady as, you know, we got a little bit closer to draft day, because it looked like he was starting to slip from a lot of the mocks we saw. But, you know, like you said, I got to talk to him probably about more than a month ago. And he just was super humble, super excited for the opportunity. Was really excited to go anywhere. He confided in me that he was a Tennessee Titans fan, so that would have been his first choice. But he told me he liked that team because you know, he was a big Eddie George fan when he was a kid. And you know, Eddie George obviously doesn't play anymore. He gets to block for Christian McCaffrey. I think that'll be a good thing for him. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Work. All right. Well, the shortest halftime show in America is on this podcast. We're in the third quarter, guys. Let's talk about those Utah Jazz and the 2 losses to Minnesota and that not so impressive game at Phoenix. Cause for concern, Jimbo?
I think a little bit. I'm going to be a little more cautious on it. I was a little more excited about their prospects a couple of weeks ago. The injury to Donovan Mitchell is a little bit disconcerting. I would that to me that's the big thing, is how quickly he comes back, how he you know, rebounds from everything with the injury. You know, we talked a little bit last time I was on the podcast just about how things might look when they get in the playoffs and their style of play. That is a little bit of a risk. I think the shooting, you know, the long ball game can go south on you. But if Mitchell comes back strong, I still like the 1-2 punch that they have, and then you add Ingles. And I still kind of like them, and they're going to fly under the radar. They're going to be, well, they're always going to be under the radar, but they'll be under the radar when the playoffs start, and that may help them actually, I think.
Eric, are they being overly cautious with Donovan Mitchell? Did they need to be? Should they be? What's your take on that?
Well, I think they should be, because I don't understand necessarily the worry right now, because, you know, if you think about it this way, this is a place, Utah Sports Podcast. Now, if we take Dirk Facer out of the equation, a legend with laryngitis for a few weeks, and suddenly it's Austin running the show, and suddenly the show, the guest book gets smaller. You know, suddenly the show's full of Disney songs instead of sports references. And then all of a sudden, Austin's having me on every week, and he's trying to get me to talk about Utah tennis. And I just start making up names because there's more pressure on me, and I just don't know that much. And I can't lean on the wiseness of Dirk Facer. So when you take away the star player from a team, it creates stress. It creates problems like this. When you take away 26 to 30 points a night, you're going to lose some games. So as long as he's back by the playoffs, I'm just not too worried about it.
You flatter me. Thanks for the kind words. Austin.
That was very nice.
That was real nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, I think they caught Minnesota at a really bad time. I think that's probably the big thing that people aren't realizing. You know, obviously Donovan Mitchell was out for that game, but I believe it was like one of the very first games Minnesota's had this year with a healthy core of D'Angelo Russell, Cat, and Anthony Edwards.
And let me just say this. I am so impressed with Anthony Edwards. I don't watch a ton of the NBA outside of the Jazz, but every time he has played them this year, and every time I've seen him, he has been absolutely lights out. He is going to be a very special player for them, I think.
Eric, by the way, that noise was your Xbox notifications on the background. In case I heard that, and I saw that.
I know that was very unprofessional.
That's okay.
I thought this thing would eventually shut off on
Jimbo
its
and
own,
I
but
had no
here
idea.
I am. See now I'm more of like, think about some like, I'm like George Niang I'm like Royce Freeman on a bad night when he just passes up shots out of
Royce Freeman's the running back for the Broncos, I think.
Oh,
You meant Royce
that
O'Neal.
is.
You're
Royce
such a
O'Neal,
football guy, Eric. You're such a football guy.
But you
before
know,
Eric interrupted me,
anyhow,
like I was saying, I think they caught Minnesota at a really bad time. Like Minnesota has been pretty hot the last couple weeks. I think they've won maybe 4 or 5 in a row, including those 2 over the Jazz. So, I mean, obviously they're cellar dwellers in the West because they haven't been healthy all year, but I think they're a lot better than their record indicates, and I think that kind of softens the blow of those losses when you think about it that way. That's all.
I just had a question for Jimbo. Anthony Edwards, did you like him better on ER or in Top Gun?
I liked him better in ER, quite honestly. I thought he did.
I'm with you there. He admitted
Also,
his
Revenge of the
faultless then.
Nerds.
Which
Revenge of the
affected
Nerds is extremely underrated. Because
What are you guys talking about?
yeah, I don't get this reference.
just for old
why
guys.
we do it. Yes, we could just throw out gibberish, and you guys would be like, "Oh, the old boys are talking again."
Mm-hmm,
He
exactly.
was a great actor, Anthony. Have you not seen Top Gun?
You
Which
know who
one?
Goose was?
I've seen Top Gun, but I could not
Goose.
discern who I
was
Anthony
Goose,
was.
right?
He was Goose.
Oh, okay,
Maverick's
all right,
best
gotcha.
friend.
Oh, that was a total shot. I didn't. I just knew there was a character named Goose. I didn't know who.
Jimbo and I. We know.
Okay.
Good
All
job.
right.
Look
On
at
to the
canopy
fourth quarter.
killed.
Baseball, AAA baseball returns to Salt Lake City after a lengthy absence. Well, across the whole country, AAA baseball Thursday night, the season opener. Jimbo, you're the biggest baseball fan I know. Nice
Thank
to
you.
see some ball being played.
Yes, it is. I've really enjoyed watching Major League Baseball this year, and I'm excited for minor league baseball to get going after kind of a year where we didn't really have it. And I think it's awesome. I was just harkening back in my mind to, again, this might be a reference that some might not get. The old Salt Lake Trappers. Dirk, I know you remember that I once had a tryout with the great Salt Lake Trappers.
Who
at
was your
Dirk
coach
Field.
that day?
It was you. It was you.
Exactly.
Really?
I wore they had open tryouts. It was a George Plimpton kind of thing. Again, a reference you guys might not get. It
Sorry.
was participatory journalism. I tried out for the Trappers
I'm aware.
so
who
I could
George
write a
Plimpton is.
story about it for the Chrony. And I showed up. I did have some cleats on that I wore in church softball when I was a teenager. I wore those. I wore like khaki shorts
Mhm.
and a.
Were they
gray
cargo
t-shirt.
shorts?
They were not cargo shorts actually, but I went up against a lot of guys who were taking this very seriously, and they broke us down and had us run first base, home to first, and they had us pair off and race, and I raced against this guy that was wearing full baseball gear. The guy probably played in high school, felt like he was really good. And me I was probably 23 at the time, maybe older.
Maybe
I
older.
beat that kid to first base and he was furious. He was absolutely furious that I beat him. And then I tried out for center field because I don't have a strong arm. And
Mhm.
I shagged a couple of flies. Afterwards, I remember Dirk and I standing near the warning track at Old Dirk's Field, different spelling, DERKS. And we hit home runs over the fence from a good 30 feet away. That was fun.
And
still
got
have
yelled at, and we're told that we had to pay for the baseballs.
Yes,
Remember?
Dave Baggett was like, "What are you guys doing?" But that was I love minor league baseball.
Jimbo, you know the Raptors are doing tryouts this year, right?
I would consider it. I think I could be what they used to call a ham-handed first baseman.
Uh-huh.
Very slow, play near the bag, but I could catch, and I might be able to pick a few out of the dirt. I think I could do it.
I'm fascinated by that. I would have loved to read that article. That
It
I
was
mean,
good, actually.
it sounds like some real paper tiger work. I mean,
It
There's
was.
a reference to George Plimpton right there.
yeah. I
Exactly
mean,
right.
I know my stuff. I've read Paper Tiger.
Tigers
I mean,
good.
among one of the greater football books out there.
Wait,
What,
So-
and he did
why don't-
some other.
Eric,
Paper Lion with Alan Alda starred in a made-for-TV movie about it.
I don't know about that, but anyway, what I was saying is I think
Yes.
Eric should recreate Jimbo's story from
you go.
1980, whatever, by trying out for the Ogden Raptors in a couple weeks.
Ogden isn't
And
that far
ju-
away, man.
yeah,
You could
you
be
can-
there.
Potentially,
totally-
I'll think.
I think you
I
should
will.
totally do
I
it.
will think about that.
I think that'd be
Uh,
fun to do. If you do, we want to hear all about it here on the
Yes,
podcast.
we will do a Patreon
Fun.
exclusive episode with you on
In
it.
fact, we'd like you to write a story for the website on top of that. So
I mean, if I will take a serious look into that. Seems like I famously though cannot swing a baseball bat. The angles I take are just off, so the bat always ends up like angled up while I swing through, or angled straight down to the dirt. I have a really good like imaginary swing, but you put a real baseball bat in my hand, I can't get the level right. I don't have the hand-eye coordination.
you have
Look at the ball.
the hand motion there like you got a lightsaber in your hand.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think about. I'm like, oh, just go like
Star
that.
Wars generation here. I like.
But
There you go.
Jimbo, I have to argue with you here. You tried out for center field
I did.
because your arm was weak. I would argue that's the position that you need the strongest arm for.
Right field, I think, is
Well, you can't be like
What?
like Andre Dawson and throw it from center field
Well,
to plate, but
true. Left field, I think, is where you may be able to get away with the weaker arm.
I have a feeling that the cold drinks were out in center field, and that's why Jimbo wanted to be a center.
Dirk was my personal
As his
trainer and
coach.
manager.
The snow
I
cone
just
machine was
where
out
he
there
told me to
in
go.
center field.
Yeah, I was doing
actually-
the best Polly imitation, having a snow cone.
I wanted to try out for second base. I envisioned myself as a bit of a Steve Sachs when he had
But
the.
I overruled you and said you're an outfielder.
you did
Be
it.
proud of who you are.
Not the first time you would overrule me before a baseball or softball game.
And Ost, you did an internship with the Bees, and
Yeah.
we both got, we all have some friends there. It's nice to see everybody back to work over there too.
Yeah, I had the chance to talk to Mark Amicone, the GM there. He talked about how excited he was to see some of the fans. He knows some of them by name, and he said he missed seeing them, and he's really looking forward to Thursday to welcome everybody back to Smith's Ballpark. Our friend Craig Williams, the communications managers, he's excited. Eric produces the Bees games for 1280. I know he and Steve get along really well, so I'm sure Steve's excited. So it's fun for everybody, really.
I mean, he's out of his mind, and he has the hardest job
Um,
this week because he doesn't know. Like I tried to get a text. I was texting with him earlier this week, and I tried to say, okay, what do you think the starting lineup looks like? And he has such a tough time because the Angels, so much of their roster is still caught up in the 40 man. Like they won't release guys to play in Salt Lake until Wednesday or Thursday. So the prep time he has for the beginning of the season is little to none. So it's very impressive, especially from play-by-play on radio, where you have to have so much information going into a broadcast, that he's able to turn it around that quickly.
And if there was ever a man that had an index card on every
Yeah.
guy that's ever played baseball in their life, it's Steve.
It's
Carell.
him.
It's
him.
impressive. So I look forward to that. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for our 4 quarters of fun. It's now time for parting shots. And Eric, you're on a roll today. Let's have you lead off the parting shots.
Sprite. It's an underrated soda. Listen,
It is.
I'm more of a Coca-Cola guy. I down so much Coca-Cola. It's not healthy, but you know, I go on and off occasionally. It is truly addicting, but you can't drink Sprite every day. But if you pick your spots with Sprite, if you say I'm gonna have Sprite with a certain meal, Sprite when you drink it always hits. For me, Sprite goes really well with fried chicken. Get
It
a
pairs
Sprite.
well with Sprite.
Get a Sprite at Popeyes every time I'm there. It's delicious. I don't drink Sprite any other time. I had some leftovers, so I have my Sprite tonight. But I just think Sprite's such an underrated drink. You know, people think, oh, it's a kid's drink. No, you can spice it up with a little, like, you want to put a lime in it. You want to maybe mix it with some tonic water, you know, adult beverages, whatever you want to do. I mean, Sprite's just a versatile drink, and it's something that people you can't buy a ton of it, but everybody should buy at least 2 or 3 2-liters of Sprite a year.
Let's bring this back to the sports and the podcast. Are you making a motion per se that Sprite should be the official beverage of the This Is the Place Sports podcast? Would you go that far?
Should we send a media kit to the Sprite Corporation?
No, because Sprite's not a weekly thing. Sprite's something where it's special occasions. I don't go to Popeyes every week. I go to Popeyes on special occasions, you know?
Okay.
I would say the official drink of
Jimbo and I
This
go
Is the
3-4
Place
times
Sports.
I went there twice.
Now this here is the official drink of this podcast. Brigham Brew root beer, because it's solid and you can have it's just fancy enough. It's just fancy enough where you can have one a week and feel like, man, I'm really classing up a joint on this Sunday night while I listen to the This Is the Place Sports podcast. And but you can't drink it every day. So that's a perfect.
Next time you're on, would you down one for us?
Well, yeah, I can see if I can arrange that.
Okay, sounds like a good. Jimbo, that's a tough act to follow. Where are you going?
You know what I like? The A&W now has root beer 0 calorie root beer.
Oh, A&W is the best brand.
That's
get that frozen
a frothy top. A frothy top.
That was my nickname in high school. The frothy top.
I bet it was.
Yes. Can't get into water.
Still is actually behind your back.
Yes, exactly right. Hey, there goes the frothy one. My shout out is to an Oakland A's pitcher. I believe he's a starter. I believe he's a lefty, named Jesus Luzardo, who went on the DL, I believe earlier today, maybe yesterday. Went on the injured list with a broken pinky, which he sustained while playing a video game. I don't know what video game it was. I hope it was the greatest video game of all time, NBA 2K13. I'm an all-star, or I'm sorry, I'm a
Hall of Famer. Yeah.
I'm a Hall of Famer in NBA 2K13. In my opinion, IMO, as the kids say. 2K13 is the finest sports video game of all time. And that's, you know, it may be a hot take considering what Madden means, but I'm saying
Madden hasn't been good for years. No. Madden is a trash video game.
Jimbo, did it ever come up on your screen that said "Let someone else play"?
No,
never. Okay, just one.
I will say I have 3 sons.
Have kids.
We're moving from this house. We've lived here for 22 years. 3 boys and a girl. My 3 sons, they all played this Xbox.
No. Okay.
And I played
Old man reference.
Fred McMurray. That's right. Robbie, Chip, and Ernie.
Huh?
My 3 sons TV show.
I know. But there's an Xbox. I'm looking at it right now. It's been here for years. All my boys have played Halo and all kinds of stuff on there. They're all gone. I'm the one that's still here. I play NBA 2K13. I'm currently a member of the Indiana Pacers. I'm a hell of a 3-point shooter. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, getting back to Jesus Luzardo, I'm amazed that I mean, maybe we shouldn't be amazed, but this is the first time. There's been a lot of weird injury guys have gone on the injury list for weird things, but the first time I've seen a video game playing injury that put a guy on the DL.
I like it.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump ahead and let you finish up tonight. I just want to give my parting shot to my friends at the Salt Lake Bees. For seems like decades, I was the beat writer down there, and I have a lot of friends down there, from all different areas. And I'm excited that they're able to get back and have a little state of normalcy down there. And they're good folks there. And Sammy, our engineer of our show, she's the new concessions manager down there. So I'm excited that she's working down there, and I'm excited for Steve Klauke and for Mark Amicone and Craig Williams and everybody down there. And I'm excited that you're back to work, and I hope to join you soon. Thanks.
What's the mascot's name?
Humble.
That's right. Remember, who was the beat writer from the Trib that was deathly afraid of mascots? Marty. That's right. And was it Buzzy that came in and Marty wigged out? It's always fun. Folks don't know
from the owner's suite through the window.
all that goes on in the press box. But one time, I think it was Buzzy that came in and scared the crap out of Marty. And Marty covered up. He threw himself over his laptop and would not look up until the stupid mascot left. So sorry, your bees reference reminded me of that.
The most huggable mascot in Utah.
I'm glad you said that, Eric, because that brings me to my point. My parting shot is, since you guys were talking about mascots, when I did intern for the Bees, there were a couple of occasions where we had like community relations events or just things out and about in town. And as the intern, I was asked to throw on the Bumble costume and participate. So here's a picture of me and Jazz Bear. That's a big
no-no. That's a big no-no, Austin. You can't reveal that stuff. In the mascot community, they take pride in not letting people know who they are. This is a slap in the face to the mascot community, and I just won't stand for it, Austin.
Hey, I think once you hang up the mascot head, you can reveal your true persona.
We're gonna have Furbies all over the place. Just bother.
I would hope people know that those are humans inside the mascot.
I think people forget, honestly, but like, no, I was at the softball game, and like they wanted us, the mascots, to play in a softball game. It was like probably 98 degrees. I'm dripping sweat inside this stupid like fuzzy bee costume. And first play of the game, first pitch, I get a line shot right at me. I'm playing third base, and I didn't bring a glove, so I just had to like knock it down with my bare hand. And it was, my hand stung for weeks after that. Yeah, I was at the hot corner, right? And then it was my turn to bat. Everybody assumed that I would be good because I'm the baseball mascot. And mind you, I probably hadn't played a softball game since like maybe my mission once we did that. And so I hit like luckily I hit the ball when it was thrown. Just a weak little grounder, and was thrown out pretty quick. But that was my last baseball/softball experience. So I just want to give a shout out to the mascots out there. We appreciate you.
And that made me wonder about one thing. Where does Grisby fit in the huggable mascot category? He's got the body for a good hug.
He's cute. I like his face.
Jazz Bear's a little too slim for me, to be completely honest.
Right. Grisby's got that extra coat, and he works on the ice. He's got a little extra padding. Just something to think about.
Look at this big dumb face.
That's that. I mean, okay, that guy. That's the most huggable mascot.
I remember
power rankings: Grisby, Bumble,
maybe stuffed animals you can buy.
Cosmo.
You got to go Augie.
And then,
Augie's.
I do remember covering a Grizzlies game once when Grisby was supposed to like rappel down from the jumbotron or the scoreboard, and he fell at least 8 feet, I'm guessing.
Not laughing at you, Grisby.
It was not on. It was on accident. He did not mean to do this. That the guy's in the mascot uniform, and he's easing himself down from the scoreboard, and somehow he drops like about, I don't know, 7-8 feet. It was a hard fall onto the ice. You know that the guy in the costume was in terrible pain, but the head is this gigantic bear with a crap-eating grin on his face, and just the idea of this head with a gigantic smile, knowing that the poor guy inside was probably writhing around.
That's very funny.
All manner of things. And yet the mascot himself had a big smile on his face, and just the contrast made me giggle. Not that I enjoy laughing at people's pain.
No, that's very funny. That is very funny.
Guys, we covered a lot of topics tonight. This was a fun podcast. I appreciate you joining. Before we leave, we have our few things we want to do. We've got our weekly contest for our newsletter subscribers. Subscribe now and you could win this week in honor of the Brigham Young University Cougars quarterback.
Nice.
Zach Wilson. We have a Cougar hat up for grabs. So let's see who wins it.
If a mascot wins this thing, it's over. I'm done.
He gets his own head.
I'm calling BS.
Frisbee is sitting around hoping.
Yes. Hey.
Hey, Grandmaster. So at Google Mail.
Grandmaster. Anybody
We don't
named
know who you are, but we're happy.
Everybody named
you participated.
Grandmaster could use a Cougar
Grandmaster
hat, I
Punk.
think.
One thing you should do, Austin, with this is like, maybe it's too late, but you should have asked for Twitter handles, because that too would have been interesting.
I think that might be easier way to get in touch with these people, because
Right.
we've been having a hard time getting a hold of these people. By the way, if you've won a prize and we haven't gotten it, please connect with us. I'm glad you mentioned that. But let's wrap it up. I know, Eric, you got a bedtime. You got school in the morning.
Yes, I do.
Let's get you ready. Get you ready for
I
bed.
have to laugh though. Just you mentioned that nobody looks at their email anymore. That makes me feel really old. Jimbo, you're probably the only
I look at my email, but
Twitter, direct messages apparently now, and not email. Email's gone the way of the telephone call, the telegraph, the telegram.
I do prefer
carrier
texting,
pigeons are out.
quite honestly, but yeah, it's become, the world changes every day.
It does. Hey guys, thanks again. And listeners, thanks for joining us. Please tell your friends to go to thisistheplaysports.com for the latest and the greatest in Utah sports. Thanks again.